Good morning, the fall away. How are you? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Good morning, Blackfire. Good to see you. Hope you guys are doing well. Thanks for being here. We have ourselves another lovely morning of some code, coffee, and chat ahead of us. Gonna try to just have a good time. Good day, Omanian. What can I say? I knew I was typing too slow. I just don't have a life. Oh man, I hope that's not the case. I hope you're not here just because you don't have a life. I'd much rather you have a life and not be here, you know? Would have been first, but chat window was hidden away. Damn. Damn. Good morning, Lorenz. How are you? Good to see you. Oh no, that's ugly. Let's see. We can fix this. Yes, I've got NeoVim fixed. It was actually pretty simple, or at least I fixed it on my other machine, but I should be able to just pull down those changes. I think what was happening was there was other LSPs that were attaching that were conflicting with the Vue language server, or the TypeScript language server in this case. So that's my fault. Just not configuring NeoVim correctly the first time. Actually, I think at one point it was configured correctly, and then I added stuff thinking I was making things better, and I ended up was just making them worse. So let's fix that really quick. So the null one was actually stopping. So the null one wasn't. So the null one was fine actually. So the null LSP was not the one causing the havoc. I think the two that were causing the havoc were the CSS language server and the HTML language server, which I don't need because I have the Vue language server attached and it provides the necessary IntelliSense that I want. Let's see. So let's go over to invim config. Let's take a quick peek at what's going on here locally real quick before we overwrite these changes. These I might want to keep. Hold on, before we blow those away real quick. Did I study computer science? Nope, I studied biochemistry. That's actually my degree up on the wall right there. I studied biochemistry at Missouri Southern State University in Joplin, Missouri. That's where I got my degree from. It's not a big name school. It's a small state school that's in a small town in Southwest Missouri. But no CS for me. Somebody's on a 25 stream streak. Way to go. Lurk away, Almanian. Lurk away. I'm learning assembly right now because why not? Dude, that's intense. People who learn assembly, I respect it. I respect it. I don't think it's for me, but I respect it. I've heard mixed opinions about learning assembly. I've heard people say learning assembly is hard, but I've also heard people say learning assembly is easy because it's very simplistic in terms of its instruction set, or its syntax, like available keywords and whatnot. But who are you gonna believe, right? I don't remember. Oh, I think I added this key map. Yeah, I added this key map, CE. So let's keep that. Real quick. Oh my goodness, Steven, can you please yank to the right clipboard? Put that there. And then the other thing I changed locally here was the Rust analyzer. Where's that at? Rust. Put that over here. Okay. Couldn't write that out. Let's get get stash. Okay, get stash drop 0, get pull. Okay. And then let's do a quick peek around. Then there's a few things I need to make sure I install. We have ESLint LSP, we have Emmet language server, we have Docker Compose, we have the Vue language server, which is good. I need the JSON language server. So I'll install that. For Pilot, yep, that looks good. Okay. I think that's. Oh, I was gonna add back those changes that I added earlier. So let's do completions. We go in here. Jump down here. We'll go underneath. Let's see. Let's do underneath CD. We'll do C-E Copilot cmp.mapping function. And then we'll say if cmp.visible.docs, then cmp.close docs, else cmp.open docs, end. Oops. Okay, and then let's go back over to the LSP area. Good morning, Rampla. Good to see you. I wanted to do biochem, but I'm terrible at learning even the table of elements, so I figured remembering isomers and chiral things would be beyond me. Dude, chirality fucked a lot of people, man. I tell you what, it's very interesting actually, because when I entered the math and science building as a freshman in college, there was a big group of us who were kind of all slated towards. Basically, there was a big group of us that were biology majors, chemistry majors, biochemistry majors, physics, and math majors. We all kind of were the 4 groups, and all of our classes were basically in the same building there on campus. And there was a very large group of us that were slated for chem, physics, and biochem. And there was probably a smaller group that were in biology. And then once everybody hit like organic chemistry 1, like the first organic chem class, all of a sudden the numbers that were in chemistry and biochemistry like shrank. Like a ton of people would migrate to biology because you didn't have to do as much It doesn't mean biology is not a hard science either. It just was kind of interesting how a lot of people, the organic chemistry really was the course that seemed to like make or break a lot of people, for whatever reason. I'm not really sure why that is. I don't know if it's because it's a very much a kind of left brain, right brain type of subject or what, but it really it really moved a lot of people to go change their majors. That and physics too. I noticed with physics too. Physics two was the one where I saw a lot of people migrate out of their original major after taking physics two, which is good. I mean, it's good for people to be self-aware like that, right? Like, you don't want to try to shove a square peg into a round hole. That way lies madness. But studying biochemistry did give me a lot of confidence because I've always thought, well, if I can figure out the Krebs cycle, I'm sure I can figure out how computers work. You know, like if I can do biochemistry, I'm sure I can figure out some of the fundamentals of software engineering. Let's see. That's it. Okay, so I think that's it. We've pieced back together the NeoVim config. Did you hear about self-replicating RNA molecules? I've not heard about this. Is this a thing? Something, some sort of breakthrough? Well, hold on. This was published today? No, 5 days ago. Oh wow, that's crazy. I'll have to go read about that. Yeah, I wonder what my life would be like if I'd actually gone and worked in like basic research. Who knows? Maybe I still have another career in me. When AI comes for all our jobs, maybe there's another career in me still. I mean, the crazy thing is like software engineering is already dead. So like, we've got nothing to lose now. Let's see. Sure, fix up nations, keybind, and Rust analyzer settings. I hope the AI keeps us well as pets. Me too. Me too, Voltaire. Uh, me too. All right, moment of truth. Let's see if this. Let's see if things work again. Where were we? We're source app. Okay. I think that sort of kind of worked. Let's see. Yep. Okay, it's working. So now we just need to set our prettier preferences. So I should now have schema support in here too, right? Am I getting... Huh. There we go. Just took a minute. Cool, so then I've got the JSON language server set up. I did that yesterday as well. Good morning, Sam D. Dev. Voltaire, congrats on your 10 stream streak. That's awesome. Wally's, good morning. Good to see you. Hello, regarding pets, my dog is passing, but I hope you all have a great day. Oh, I'm sorry, man. I'm really sorry about your dog. I have a coworker right now who's going through this same sort of experience. He's got a couple older dogs, and one of them's pretty sick, and it's been kind of, I think, a nightmare for him. Voltaire, I'll opt out of getting fixed though. Yeah, they better not try to fix me. That's all I can say. Otherwise, I'll have to start the revolution. Viva la humanity! May all dogs go to heaven. I believe they do. I believe they do. I really need to try Vue sometime. Yeah, Vue's great. I really enjoy it. Um, I know everyone kind of has their personal preference on like what they like to do on the front end, which is totally fine. I think most things in 2026 are probably perfectly fine for what the majority of the majority of us are doing on the front end, you know? But I've been leaning heavily towards Vue the last like 2 years, 18 months. Let's see, where my pretty? There it is. Okay. So let's just copy this guy. Put that here. Oops. Put that there, put that there. We're going to do single attribute per line is indeed true. All right. I think we're rocking and rolling now. Let's go. Let's open up this terminal. Let's head over to Physical OS. Let's run Aspire so we can get our apps up and running. We'll do Aspire run. And away we go. See you, Gunhighs. Have a good day, man. Sorry about your dog. This is awful, man. I'm really sorry about that. Good morning, Minister of Defense. Good to see you. Do you still pay attention to us over here on YouTube, or are you a Twitch superstar now? No, I mean, there's literally only a handful of people that ever show up on Twitch. Most of my viewership, of the viewership I have, I hate saying those words because it makes it sound like I have some sort of large number of following, because I don't. But the people who do show up regularly, the majority of them are on YouTube. So yeah, not Twitch famous at all. Let's see. Wally's did the senior interview yesterday. Just behaviors. They were happy with that.
Best friends?
Hold on, what happened? Pravesh, thanks for the sub, man. Appreciate that. Did the senior interview yesterday. Just behaviors. They were happy with that. So on to the technical interview next. Nice, Walsy. Good. I'm glad. I told you you'd kill it. So did they tell you much about what the technical interview is? Did they give you any sort of prep or anything like that? Or was it just kind of like, come back in a couple days and we'll put you through the paces? Okay. All right. So what do we need to do? What we need to do is, well, here's an example where that logic that I talked about yesterday, we need to implement it. So good evening and morning. It's been a while here. What's going on? Good morning, Amba. It has been a minute since I've seen you. Nothing really has changed over here. We're still just drinking coffee, trying to write code like a caveman, in 2026. And chatting about what's going on in life and the world in general. So yeah, we're having a good time. All right, let's go to router. Let's go over here. And now let's implement the logic for expired token. This should be actually pretty straightforward because I have written most of this code already. We go here. Close that. So let's go back over to the source here. Stores, user store. Okay, so we've got some We've got some code that we need to copy pasta into this project. I'll bet they'll get me to do some neat code, which I'm not that excited about. Eesh. Yeah, I wouldn't be terribly excited about that either, Walsey, but I guess those are the hoops we have to jump through, huh? Arav, hi, what's up? Why don't you do full screen live streams on YouTube like Twitch? Because YouTube actually has pretty good discoverability. If you stream vertically on YouTube, they put you in the shorts feed, and YouTube is heavily pushing the shorts feed on people, so it's a good way to help kind of grow the channel and get exposure to people who wouldn't otherwise be exposed. TZ, thank you for the follow over on Twitch. Appreciate that. So that's the main reason, REV. And then that way, if people decide that they don't want the vertical experience anymore, they can head over to the horizontal experience on Twitch. So it's just kind of a nice way to try to provide multiple options to people while still trying to grow the channel. You know what I mean? All right, let's do this. Let's go to services. And let's do a client.ts. And let's do a not namespace. Let's see, let's define an iClient interface. Excuse me.
Did we just become best friends?
Thank you for the follow, Minister of Defense. Or of IC. Yeah, that's why. It's really just about discoverability and trying to help expose my channel to people who wouldn't otherwise be exposed to it. I'm actually just going to copy all this code. All right, let's take a gander through here. So we have our client request with body. Got the credentials. Got iClient. Then we have a client factory, which takes a client config and returns a client. Let's go over to the main TS. We are going to do, let's see, app. We will do app.provide client key factory key, and we will provide a new client factory like this. And then we need to put together an auth service, which we should be able to use this one. Let's see. Night Rod, PYP, why are you up so late, dude? I'm not up late, I'm up early. So I've only been up for about 30 minutes at this point, 45 minutes at this point. I usually wake up about 5, try to get up out, or not 5, about 4, try to get up out of the bed, get myself ready, make a cup of coffee, and then come down to the desk in the basement and stream. I have 5 interviews this week for the same position for a principal software engineer. Already did 2, pretty exhausting. I don't know why companies love giving you a gagillion interviews. Yeah, I think that the gagillion interviews is just I think it's like buying a well-known brand over an unknown brand type of thing where no one's going to get in trouble if they do 5 interviews and hire somebody and that person doesn't work out well, right? So I think it's kind of a way, I think, to cover their ass in a way. I don't know though if I really necessarily agree with the approach, but that seems to be the world that we live in. And I bet you are exhausted. I bet you are exhausted. All right, let's do that. So we have login response, register response. We don't need a register method. We don't need to send verification, email request. We don't need a register request. We will need a login. Let's change this to username. That username. Username. How else could you do it? Work remotely at the weekend for a month? You mean how else would you do interviewing? Is that what you're saying, Voltaire? Yeah, if it was me, I just don't think you need that many interviews. You probably need max 3 interviews, right? You probably need like one screening just to see if someone's like a good, like if you guys are aligned on the potential. You probably need another interview with the team and the manager that you're going to be working with every day. And then maybe you need a third interview with like the skip level, like maybe you need them with like the VP or whoever leads that particular like function group in the company, but you definitely don't need 5 interviews spread over 4 or 5 weeks. I mean, when I got hired as a food scientist, the interview process was one phone screening with an HR lady. Her name was Julie Marcello. I had one phone screening with her. Then I had basically a half-day interview at the plant where I met with my direct hiring manager. I met with each of the people on the team that I'd be working with. And I met with each manager that led each functional group within the plant. So I met with the food safety and quality manager. I met with the general manager. I met with the logistics manager. I met with each kind of head of the functional group for like 15-20 minutes. But we did all of that. We did all those interviews in like a 4-hour period on site. Um, and then that was it. And then there was like a callback period where we negotiated an offer and whatnot. But to me, that's a way better use of everyone's time and energy than spreading a candidate's interview period over 5 weeks. Like it seems wholly unnecessary. But that's just my opinion. Doesn't mean it's the right opinion. It's just my opinion. I remember 10 years ago, I was flown out to LA, did 8 hours of interviews, went back home. They emailed me telling me I didn't get it. Big waste of time. Now that would suck. That would suck. But at least the investment of your time in that process, Minister of Defense, I will say this, at least that investment of your time was a flight, right? They flew you out and you spent 8 hours. When you stretch an interview process over 5 interviews over multiple weeks, like that's a huge waste of time. Not only that, but you're like emotionally invested in the whole process. Like you're waiting to hear back. You're wondering if you did a good job. Like to me, that's just a wholly worse experience, in my opinion. So we have a login. Don't need this. Well, we will need this at some point. We don't need this either. Well, we will at some point, but we don't need it right now. Let's see. Recent verification.
Did we just become best friends?
Astror. Thank you for the follow. I never know how to say everyone's username, so My apologies. Do TypeScript and C# feel pretty similar? I see a lot of it similar. It really can. If you use class based, like if you author using a class, it can. But a lot of people don't use interfaces and classes in TypeScript from what I've seen of other people's code. But if you do use them, yeah, there's a lot of similarities. Let's see, we need to add TS result. So we'll figure that out here in a second. So we don't need register. We don't need log out right now. We do need refresh. We don't need recent verification. We don't need verified account. We don't need register. Don't need log out. I guess we will at some point, but we don't need it right now. Let's see, we have auth login. I think this should be auth refresh. And get rid of this method. We should just have refresh and login. Move that up here.
Did we just become best friends?
Caleb, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that very much.
Did we just become best friends?
Thank you, WKX Thank you for the follow. Appreciate you guys. All right. So I think there is some refactoring I want to do here, but I think this is plenty enough to get me going. So let's go ahead and add TS result real quick, and then should be good. TS result. Can you make an app for everything you want from scratch? Probably not from scratch. Probably not from scratch, but you could probably get pretty far on a lot of things these days. Yeah, I think it would be I think it would be hard. There's some applications I know it would be hard to build from scratch, right? Probably not worth the effort. But you could probably get pretty far on some basic stuff, you know? How do you feel about Go's concurrency versus C# TypeScript concurrency, or do you get a chance to play with Go's concurrency much? I did. I used concurrency a little bit in Advent of Code to solve one or two solutions. My feeling on Go's concurrency is, oh, why do I have vulnerabilities now? We did not have vulnerabilities yesterday. Let's see if we can fix them. Audit fix. So I prefer async await. I like async await better personally in terms of how the concurrency is modeled. But I understand the idea behind channels. And I think that it makes a whole lot of sense the way Go approaches the use of channels to deal with the same type of problem. So I can take or leave either, I guess. You know? I really enjoyed Go. I really did. I enjoyed it as a language. The developer experience I thought was good. I love how easy they make it to benchmark and test your code. It's all built in, out of the box. They have good support for doing HTTP testing, which is so important nowadays. Let's see, auth service. So, yeah, no complaints here at all. Are you complaining? Argument of type auth service is not assignable to auth service. Oh. I wonder why I made these factory methods. Or why I went with factories. I don't remember why I did this. It may not be necessary to do this. Okay, so we have a client, we have an auth service now that has a login. What are these? Let's see, body.errors as record. Validation errors, object.values, return a list of errors, that's fine. Login response. Okay, I think that looks good. Now let's add some composables here. We'll say use auth service.ts. Factory equals C# Java brain. It does. I can't remember exactly why I did it. I think if I remember right, when I originally implemented that pattern for that other project where I copied the code from, I think I was thinking that I wanted to be able to control when the client sent the authentication credentials, the refresh token, and the access token. And the easiest way to do that was to control creating the services with a particular client configured in a particular way, I think is what I ended up doing. But I might, at some point I might go back. It'll be fine for what I'm doing right now, but at some point I might go back and change that. All right, now what we'll do is we'll say export function use auth service like this. And let's see, when we take in the use auth service, we need to take in the store. So we'll say store goes user store, like that. And then we'll say const client factory equals inject client factory key. And we'll do const auth service factory equals inject auth service factory, like that. Or auth service factory key. That's what we want. And so then what we'll be able to say is okay, if there is no client factory or auth service factory, I think this returns them as undefined. So if either of these is undefined, we have an issue. Hold on, sorry guys, I missed some of your chat. Do you think it makes sense to get a mentor if you're finding it hard to break into roles that pay well after graduation, even though you've worked on a lot of big projects? If yes, how would you recommend going about it? So I don't know. I think having a mentor always makes sense, right? Like whether or not that person is like an official mentor or not, but I think having somebody in your life who's in whatever capacity is a little bit further along whatever path you want to tread, whether that be in your professional life, your personal life, your financial life. I think having people like that is really important because it's nice to have somebody you can turn to and ask questions and bounce ideas off of and get feedback. Doesn't mean your mentor is always going to have the right answer for you, right? But it's just nice to have that community. So I think having a mentor always matters. I don't know if that mentor is going to be the thing that solves the problem of you not being able to break into roles that pay well. But I think it always makes sense to have those people. So if you can find them and you can seek them out, you can build relationships with folks like that, who are sort of walking along a similar path that you want to walk, or that you are walking, but are just a little further down the line. I think that's always useful. Um, I think a lot of things professionally comes down to your network. I think your network is kind of your secret weapon when it comes to jobs and advancement and opportunities presenting themselves. I think the stronger that professional network is, the better off you are. The hard part with a network, a professional network, is that it all comes down to building and maintaining relationships over long periods of time, which is just hard because that requires an investment of intent. It requires an investment of time, and you have to be very intentional about it. You have to seek out opportunities to meet people, which when you're younger and you're in high school and college, or even in your early 20s, a lot of that stuff just happens naturally. Um, and then as you get older, it requires a lot more intentionality, right? Because you sort of, as you get older, especially if you have a family or get married, you sort of fall into these patterns and these routines, and then the chances to have serendipity happen, right, become fewer. So for me personally, what that's looked like is it's looked like going to meetups, getting involved in Discord communities or online communities that are like folks who have similar interests to me, or overlapping interests in some way. And then going to the KCDC Developer Conference has been great for meeting people. And then the key is not only do you have to meet them, you have to like engage with them on an ongoing basis, because your network is only valuable to you uh, at the time when you actually need the network, right? So if you lose a job or you're ready to change jobs and you haven't spent time to build that network, it's too late at that point, right? And like you can't go and build a network in like 30 days, right? It takes months, years. So that's why it requires you to start sort of now and to invest that time and intentionality up front. And it's not always easy to do. Sounds easy, but not always easy to do. Svengo, I'm going back to VS Code. It took me 2 days to configure NeoVim. It was fun at first, and although I was able to use it, it made me feel stressed and tired. No judgment here, man. You should use the tools you love and enjoy. I'm going back to using VS Code and Vim extension. It took me 2 days to... Okay, sorry. I saw your message. Yeah, I go for it, dude. There's nothing wrong with VS Code and Vim extension. I think if that makes you feel good and you're productive, it makes you want to write code and build more shit, I say more power to you. Minister of Defense. Yeah, people always hit me up when they're looking for work, but otherwise don't hear from them. Yeah, and that never feels good, right? Minister of Defense, that doesn't feel good. So I try not to engage with people that way, you know. I try to really invest in those relationships as like actual relationships. I've also tried to do like as I've like worked at places and then left places, I've tried to make sure that I keep in touch with coworkers and colleagues that I kind of fucked with at that place. Meaning, when I say fuck with, I mean like that I got along with, that I worked well with both professionally and also felt like personally we were compatible in terms of like our views and our values. And I've tried to keep in touch and stay in touch with those folks, because you just never know. The world is a weird place, and so you never know like what weird relationship is going to end up like. This guy knows that guy who knows this other guy who's in a completely different field, and he's looking for somebody with your exact background. Like you just never know. Um, yeah, you just never know. But you definitely don't want to be that guy. You definitely don't want to be the guy who just shows up and says, "Hey, can I have a job?" every so often. Let's see, Tom. Artificial intelligence will take over IT branch. I just lost my job. Well, first off, I'm really, really sorry that you lost your job. As somebody who has a wife and 2 kids, I can only imagine how scary that would be for me to lose my job. So, um, I hope you're, I hope you're doing okay. Second off, I don't know if artificial intelligence will take over, but I definitely think it's going to have a big impact. I think by the time AI takes over, in that sense, takes over, I think I'll be long dead.
say something.
Serendipity. I love that word. Most people don't get it. Dictionaries tend to just call it luck, dropping the real point. A prepared, intelligent mind to use that luck.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, that's that whole idea where like luck is opportunity meets preparation. You know, so that's why a professional network is something it's in a professional network's a lot like a 401k or an IRA. Like it's about the compounding investment you make over time, not the quick wins or immediate gains. So these relationships you have are about you making small deposits in them and building genuine connection with people. And the hope is that then when you do have a need, you have a village of people who can help you. But I understand it's hard to actually act on that stuff, you know? It's intimidating. I don't think I need to do that. I think I just need to do, let's see, const client equals client factory dot create const client config equals new client config. Good morning. How are you? Good to see you. All right, so we're gonna do authorization equals bearer store.user.token. True. And then we also need a authorized response handler, which is going to be store.refresh access token. That. And then this will go into this method here. Const auth service. And we'll return the auth service. Okay, so we need to go and implement this method. Yeah, we need to go implement this method. So let's go to the user store. And I already have that over here. Right now I'm stealing code from this old project of mine. Use user store. Let's see, we have a refresh access token call here. Okay, let's see. All right. Now we need to get the factories. Let's get those up here. Those in from view. And then we'll expose those down here. Refresh access token like that. Okay, and now if we go back to find buffer, we should find that this guy's happy now. Okay, and so the way this works, the way I've implemented this in the past, is basically inside the client, which is basically like my own little HTTP client interface. I provide the ability for somebody to give me an unauthorized response handler. And so this basically allows me to refresh or attempt to refresh the token if the request fails with a 401. So if I make a request and it fails with a 401 and we have a unauthorized response handler, we will then try to basically refresh the token, and if we can refresh the token, then we'll try to retry the response. Let's see, we do not have rate limiting at the moment, so we can remove this. Okay, I might refactor some of this code because I wrote this code probably a year and a half ago, or maybe even 2 years ago now. And I'd like to kind of do it differently now. But this will be good enough to get us up and running. Okay, so then what we can do is in our main TS, we should be able to say router. We should be able to handle this logic now. So basically we have if we go back to our application, you'll see it looks like I'm logged in, right? But the truth of the matter is that the token that's stored in my local storage is actually expired. And so we should, where is it? Application, yeah, local storage. If you look in here, you'll see I've got, well, that's not the right heading, but I've got this old token storage, and you can see it's already expired, but we're still treating it as if the user's logged in because we aren't checking whether or not it's expired or not. So we need to fix that. And this shouldn't be Onyx graph. This should be, let's make this physical OS. Physical
Did we just
OS
become
off.
best friends?
Thanks for the follow, Viable Subtlety. Let's see, when people go into meetings or meetups specifically to look for work, it feels opportunistic. I find when you get to be yourself and talk shop, opportunities come to you. Couldn't agree more. Yeah, couldn't agree more. And that's why it's so important to start the network building early so that there isn't that pressure to try to be on the hunt for opportunities, right? People sense that desperation. They whether or not they consciously know it or not, subconsciously people sense it for sure. Tree Gamer the second, help. I'm stuck on a school assignment. I need your help. How do I this Hello World in Python? JK, love the content. Keep it up. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for saying nice things about my content. Glad you're not really stuck on Hello World in Python. All right, now, so since I changed that, that's going to make it so it looks like I'm not logged in. So now I'm not logged in because I don't have the right local storage thing. But if I change this to physical OS auth and then reload, now it thinks I'm logged in again. Okay, so what does this logic look like in the router, in the guard? So the router is handle the expired token. So the first thing we need to say is if user is null, well, then we have an issue. If user is not null, then we need to check to see if the token's expired. And the way we're going to do that is like such. We're going to say const is expired. I have to tell you guys, after spending that little bit of time writing Rust, I'm totally bought into snake case. Like, this to me looks right. And I know that everybody in TypeScript world uses camel case for variable names, but now everything I do, I want to write. I want to write snake case. Rust has ruined me. Let's see. So we'll say user store dot user dot expires at in seconds is less than date dot now divided by 1,000. Yep. Okay. And so then if it is expired, we're going to do some stuff. What's the tech stack for the app? Any showcase already done? Good morning. Let's see. The tech stack for the app is we're basically using SQLite as our database. We're using Vue on the front end. We're using. Actually, I also need to update my doing message. Doing. I'm working on building personal finance app. Using Vue. .NET, C#, TypeScript, SQLite, and Aspire. So yeah, so the front end's in Vue, the back end's in .NET or C#. I'm using TypeScript on the front end, SQLite for the database. I'm using Aspire to help do my orchestration locally. What else? I think that's it. There's really nothing to demo though yet because we're just working on the basics of the app. So like I'm still working on the login, log out, all that stuff on the front end right now. The auth is just implemented myself. It's JWT. We're using bearer tokens. We're using bearer tokens with a refresh token, and the refresh token uses token rotation every time. I thought you were going to say after writing Rust, you're not into no null. Well, I'm not. I don't like dealing with nullability. That's for sure. Like I go out of my way to try to avoid nullability wherever possible. But yeah, I don't want to deal with nullability. I want to write my variable names and my function names snake case now. I want to use results pattern where it's applicable. I don't want to use results pattern all the time, but I do want to use the results pattern some of the time. It is not I'm not using TanStack, although I've heard great things about TanStack. Good morning, Kurt. Good to see you. I find it funny how people love the pursuit of happiness, but when you meet someone in that situation, they're detestable. Yeah, I mean, I think the pursuit of happiness, having the ability to pursue your happiness is a good thing. But I don't think that necessarily necessitates that you're going to love the pursuit. Or at least it doesn't necessitate that people are going to love the pursuit. Better auth is the standard right now. Highly recommend if using full stack TypeScript. Yeah, I'm not using full stack TypeScript, so better auth is not super applicable to me at all. But I've heard good things about better auth. But I'm not using better auth. I'm just using bearer tokens, refresh tokens, and bearer tokens. Kirk, I mean the movie Pursuit of Happiness with Will Smith. Oh, I love that movie. I love that movie. um, but yeah, people often aren't very nice when they're in desperation like that. I mean, I think that's why there's a movie made about that guy's life, right? Like, how many people do you know that find themselves in that type of situation and they persevere, right? Most people just kind of give in and succumb, like unfortunately. All right, and then if refresh result dot error, we know we have a problem. This also needs to be async. I won an AI competition living in a tent. Walking to Starbucks every day was one of the best experiences of my life. That's pretty cool. That's very cool. Why were you living in a tent though? Just like fell on hard times, or what's the story behind that?
Did we just become best friends?
Hold on, did I go sub? Follow? I don't even know how to call that. Ginning? G3 inning? Ginning maybe? Follow. Thank you for the follow on Twitch. I never know how to say people's usernames. I suck at it. Let's see, and then return path equals public login. Otherwise, we just carry on. Otherwise, we do this: user store dot log user in. We pass in refresh result dot val dot access token. Okay, so here's basically the logic. So if we hit the main point of our application, so if we hit the protected version of or protected routes of our application, then before we enter those protected routes, we're going to make sure we have a user. If we do have a user, we're going to check to see if they're expired, their token is expired. If their access token is expired, then we're going to try to refresh it. If we fail to refresh their token, then we'll just log them out, return them to the login screen. Otherwise, if the refresh was successful, we'll log them in, and then they can continue on to wherever it was they were going to begin with. So let's see if this works. Let's run a quick little test. Let's also make sure I have the right endpoints. Auth. Let's see, endpoint.cs. Yeah, refresh. Okay. So let's go over here. We should go back to the application. Now it's going to look like we're logged in, and we should also not have that token because we removed it. So let's assume we go ahead and log in as myself. So we'll say my name is Steven, my password is password because it's super secure. Login succeeds. We have our token right here. Okay, and then let's say this expired a long time ago. So let's say this is not 177. Let's say this is where is it? Where are you? Let's stay and set up 177. We're looking at 160. So this should be expired now. So my hope is when we hit the network, let's look at the network tab. When I refresh, okay, something went wrong here. So refresh failed. Okay, so refresh failed. It says Localhost undefined auth refresh. So I don't know what this is. This shouldn't be being undefined. But it did make a call to the refresh endpoint, which is what I would expect. So let's go back into here and figure out why this is undefined real quick. So let's go to client. Let's see, how are we building the URL? Client config, headers, request, URL.
Did we just become best friends?
Thank you very much, Taco, for the follow over on Twitch. Appreciate you. Caleb might be course. No, we already took care of course. We don't have to worry about course because we're not making cross-origin requests. We're actually proxying to our backend. So we don't have to worry about cross-origin requests because we're going to have this all served from the same URL, and we're just going to proxy to the backend. Right now we're using Vite to do that, but when we deploy, we'll use Nginx to do it. Okay, so I think...
Uncle Pee-wee is telling you to drink some coffee.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you watching out for me like that. Let's see, Kirk, just can't get hired at the time. It was 2024, so I couldn't really get interviews. I was connected with the Prime on LinkedIn too, didn't help. Yeah, I mean, I don't think being connected with the Primeagen is going to help with anything because, I mean, again, it's like your professional network isn't about people you know from a distance online. It's from people you know in real life that you have a real connection to, you know? I have an interview cooking right now, though. Yay or nay this week. Not to be depressing. Well, that's great, man. I'm glad. I'm hoping the interview goes real well with you. Morning, Steven. You ever get the Vim and VS Code bugs worked out? I did. So the NeoVim funkiness, Ryan, from yesterday was because I had LSPs that were attaching and conflicting with each other. So I think there was a CSS LSP and an HTML. There was a CSS language server and an HTML language server that were attaching, where the Vue language server was also attaching, and those three things were conflicting with each other. So that was a pretty easy solution, actually. Once I stopped down and once I slowed down and actually started thinking about it and working through it systematically, it was a pretty straightforward fix. Voltaire, foot in the door connections. Yeah, you want people who actually know you and will actually vouch for you, you know? Kurtz. Good morning, Kurtz. How did you learn Go? I want to start learning it. So I learned Go using two resources, and you can go back and watch. Basically, every stream from November of 2025 is me learning Go. And then every stream in December of 2025 is me using Go to solve Advent of code. So if you want to go back and watch me learn, you can and follow along. But I used these two resources. I used one that's called Tour of Go, which is, I think, like kind of the official Go tutorial. Tour of Go. It's pretty good. Thought this was good. And then I also learned another one called Learn Go. I used another one called Learn Go with Tests, which is kind of like it's like a book, so it's kind of lengthy. It goes through a lot of things, but I felt like this was very, very helpful. So those were the two resources I used. I went through Tour of Go first, and then I went through Learn Go with Tests second. And Learn Go with Tests has some duplicative information to what you learn in a Tour of Go, but I think that's okay, you know, for all practical purposes. So those are the two resources I used, and they worked very well in my opinion. Thank you. Of course, Kurtz. Of course. Yeah, happy to point you in the right direction. Have you heard of space-time DB? Instead of queries, you write code that compiles to WASM. It's in-memory tables that I believe can persist, used for some games as the backend game code. I have not heard of this. The most recent DB I heard of was called DuckDB, that I heard is a pretty cool piece of technology. I haven't had a good reason to explore this database, but I have not heard of SpaceDB or Space-Time DB. What's this about? Let's see. An app development at the speed of light. Build faster with AI. Obviously, they have to stick some AI in there. Let's see. What's their... Do they not have like a little about? Let's say, what is Space-Time DB? You can think of Space-Time DB as both a relational database and a server combined into one. Okay. Instead of deploying a web or game server that sits in between your clients and your database, clients connect directly to the database and execute your logic inside the database itself. No more Docker, Kubernetes, VMs, microservice, or extensive ops infrastructure. We built SpaceDB because we need a reliable, transactional, super fast backend to run Bitcraft. What's Bitcraft? Ooh, this looks fun. This looks really fun. Anybody played this game before? So how much does it cost? That's cool. Let's see. The entire backend, including all logic, real-time updates, and persistent state, is implemented as a space-time DB module. Interesting. It kind of reminds me of It kind of reminds me of the same ethos of Convex, right? Where Convex is basically saying we're going to use stored procedures, but we're going to author the stored procedures in TypeScript. And so what you're saying is basically you author your stored procedures in something that gets translated to WASM or something. I think that's pretty cool. I don't know what I would use this for, though, myself. Let's see, pricing. 2,500 TEV free credits per month. 3 million function calls. 1 gigabyte table storage. Yeah, interesting. I wonder how this would compare to something like Convex. That's pretty cool. So you can write in Rust. Oh, that's cool. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, I think it's kind of that same idea where it's like, let's remove the need for like a dedicated backend and let's just have the database, or let's have our DB kind of be a platform almost. Let's see, bit yet. Not yet. Planning to play it though. The game looks cool. Yeah, the game looks very cool. So awesome. Thanks for the recommendation. I'll have to put that one in my I'll have to put that into my list of things to try, which continues to grow at an unsustainable pace. Let's see, desktop, what is it? YT, things to try, things to look at on stream. Try using space-time DB. Oh, look, I had solid JS on here. We already did that. Have we looked at anything else on here? We still haven't tried Godot. That list just gets bigger and bigger all the time. Kurt's OneDrive. Oh, you don't like OneDrive? Oh, I didn't know people weren't a fan of OneDrive. Ryan, I'm not a fan of databases as a service. I like to own my own data. That makes sense. I totally understand that reservation. That's called a search warrant. Have you ever thought of having a paired coding stream? What do you mean? Like people writing code together, that type of thing? Like somebody writes code with me? I have not considered that, but that might be fun. Do a little bit of pair programming, a little bit of mob programming. It might be fun. Uncle P, I hate OneDrive. Oh wow, I did not know so many people had strong feelings about OneDrive. Voltaire, you can run it yourself or use their service. Always thought it a waste separating data and code. Then you have to copy data to the server running code. Yeah, I guess that's a valid complaint. But the thing is, like, people hated doing using stored procedures in the past. So it's kind of funny to see, like, they're still stored procedures, but they're kind of being presented to developers in a new way using, like, being able to write your stored procedure in Rust or TypeScript, right? But it's still kind of just a remote procedure call. Like, you're just calling into a database that's running some function for you. But people have always bitched about putting business logic in the database, but now all these services are sort of being like, nah, fuck that. Just put the business logic in the database. Um, and I guess I see the value in doing that to some extent. Um, I think there's probably drawbacks to it as well, but it's pretty cool that they let you run it yourself. That's one of my favorite things about Convex is they allow self-hosting, because I think the best opportunity there is you can essentially start for free or start with your own compute, and then if you actually do build something that needs scale, you can always migrate to their hosted offerings. Voltaire, they sucked because they were slow and it was really limited. Well, there you go. So they're just making them. I guess they're making that paradigm better instead of abandoning it altogether. Kurtz, well, you're the first person that I've seen that uses it and likes it. Oh, interesting. Really? Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I didn't know that this was a thing that people were anti OneDrive. This is news to me. I knew people were anti Microsoft, but I didn't know people just don't like OneDrive. I use OneDrive, Google Drive. I kind of use. I'm agnostic about about it. Just use Excel as a database. Yeah, just use Excel. It'll be fine. Or self-hosted on me. No, we're not going to self-host it on you, Uncle Pee Wee. All right, so I think the issue we're having here is something in my Vite config, maybe. Vite config. So we should be rewriting that. Hmm. Oh no, it's not in my Vite config. It's coming from my actual service. So why? Let's see. Oh, this dot base URL. That's why. Do I need to set this? I guess. Let's see. Import meta Vite API base URL. I don't need this. I don't need this. This should be auth. Yeah, I don't actually need this, and this should probably be centralized to something different, but for now I'm just gonna do this for the quick fix. I don't need this. I just need that. Okay. Now let's go to where are we going to? Here? Yeah, here. Okay, let's try this again. So we'll say Steven, password, super secure. We're logged in. Now we're going to go over to the application and we are going to expire the token. And then we're going to reload the page. Where's my network tab? We're going to reload the page. There we go. And then we should see a call to the refresh endpoint in here somewhere. Right here. And there's our new access token. Cool. That works. Awesome. MS access is just Excel. Sometimes you got to cut the middleman. I mean, I honestly sometimes think like for a lot of things I build, I think, well, a JSON file would be just fine for this. I mean, a lot of times I don't build things that are used by hundreds and thousands of people, right? I just build things that's used by like me. And a lot of times it's just stuff that needs to read data, right? I don't need concurrent writes. I just need to be able to read from it and write to it every very, very often, very, very seldom. So sometimes I think I'm just going to stick this in a JSON file. I'm not one of those thing engineers. Kurt's .text files exist. Just store your data there. Yeah. I mean, AI has really bought into this idea of Markdown.
I'd like to say something.
A tutor who tooted the flute tried to teach two young tutors to toot. Said the toot to the tutor, "Is it harder to toot or to tutor two tutors to toot?"
What a great poem. Let's see. Hi, Steven. I'm getting started in C Sharp backend dev. Any tips on how to fasten the learning curve and key topics to look out for one? So if it was me, one of the things. So first off, I think start with the basics. Like go to Free Code Camp, take the C Sharp foundational course. They have a foundational course where they partner with Microsoft, and you do part of it on Free Code Camp and part of it on Microsoft. The Microsoft Learning Platform. Start there, get the basics of the language down. From there, I'd probably like build some basic applications with C Sharp, build a console app, build a minimal API, build a worker project, right? So you can kind of get a feel for what it looks like to work in C Sharp and build some applications in some different contexts. And then as far as like key concepts, I think one of the key concepts that's very helpful to understand is the async and await model. And there's actually a video by Stephen Tobe, who is, I mean, he's the man when it comes to .NET, in my opinion. He's a very, very good engineer and very knowledgeable about C Sharp and .NET. But he has a series of videos where he does deep dives on these types of topics. And he has one where he does a deep dive on async and await. And this video, I think, does a wonderful job of like breaking down this concurrency model using async and await and what it really is representing under the hood. And he actually steps through like implementing async await from scratch. Very simplified version. But in order to help you better understand and build a mental model of it, it's very good. So I would recommend going and watching these videos at some point. There's a whole playlist out there. Let me see if I can tag you in this. Let's see, at DHRuva. Good, Stephen Tobe video on async and await. And so that would be, so async await would be one concept to focus a lot on. I think another concept to make sure you understand really well is the difference between passing by reference versus passing by value in C Sharp. I think that bites a lot of people a lot. They end up walking themselves into immutability that they didn't realize that they were walking into by passing collections or complex types around between methods. I think that catches people off guard. What's another one? Is there anything else that comes to mind? The concurrency model is important. Pass by value, pass by reference is important. Those are the only two that come to mind right now. Here's that playlist I was talking about. share that with you. I think you might like this as well. Some of these concepts are kind of more advanced, so maybe go and look at this stuff after or as kind of supplemental to the main stuff you're learning. But this is a really good series on it. Deep.net playlist. Good morning, Inspire. Good to see you. Good morning, 199. Good morning, Manon. Good to see you guys. Hope you're doing well. Mason, did someone say C sharp? Someone did say C sharp. All right, let's go back to the code. And we have a place in here where we're logging in. Let's see, login view. Yeah. So now what we can do is instead of doing this, we should be able to say, let's put that up here. Let's do const auth service equals use auth service, like that. And then we can pass in user store, like that. And then here, instead of doing all of this messiness, we can just say const login result equals await auth service dot login, and then we can say data. This will be data. Hold on. That shouldn't be email. That should be. Let's just do this username. Username. Login result is assigned to value but never used. Argument of type form data entry value is not assignable. Form data entry value. What? I should probably refactor this to use some strongly typed. I mean it. It's not undefined. Okay, and then login result dot error. Alert, failed to log in. Let's do login results. Dot join. Otherwise, we can do login result dot val dot access token. It's a string. This is user store. Okay, so that all should still work the same. So obviously we don't have a way to log out right now, but we can add one of those. But let's clear this, delete, reload, Steven, password, log in, still works. Should be able to refresh, stay logged in. Good deal. Mason, what's the output of this? I have no idea. What is that? Is that C? Or is that C++? Ryan, I can't see sharp. I can only see blurs. Good one. Good one. Inspire, how's the week been? The week's been good. Yeah, it's been pretty chill here on stream. We had like an existential crisis conversation on Monday about AI and software engineering for about an hour and a half, which was a lot of fun. And then and then in between all the coffee drinking and chatting, we've been building this application, which is going fairly well. We now have a way to log in on the front end, and now we have a way to sort of kind of start connecting some of the back end logic to the front end. So now what we need to do is we actually need to like make this stuff look pretty, right? And so let's start here with the service. Feature, web, add small HTTP client, implementation around fetch. Feature web, implement auth service. We want to implement a user store. Let's do use user store and auth service to handle logging in and persisting user state. Good morning. I did not. Your Texas. Oh, honey, you missed an S on the end of your Texas speech. Also, good morning. Do it again. That's why it didn't work. A dot in the cosmos. How's it going? It's going good. Yeah, it's going good. We're just, we're enjoying our morning, drinking coffee, writing some code. Yeah, it's going well. A dot in the cosmos. That's adorable. Oh yeah, that's my wife. Yeah, I gave my wife text-to-speech powers on the stream. So because I didn't want to ever miss any of her messages, so I gave her the power to yell at me. She would never do such a thing. On Kargosh, consistency matters. Let's go. Consistency does matter, man. Yeah, my favorite saying is "small steps climb mountains." So life is a lot of little successes, a lot of consistency over a long period of time, sustained effort over a long period of time. That's how anything worthwhile is accomplished. Mason, you're doing this for practice? I'm building for, I guess, a couple different reasons. I'm building for fun because I get a lot of enjoyment out of it. It makes me feel good, gives me dopamine, makes me feel motivated to do other things. I'm building because I actually do want a piece of software that can help me manage my personal finances. My finances and my family's finances is something I take very seriously. I believe that's the path for my family to get to a point where we have some level of economic security and independence. So having a tool like this to help me do that will be something that will actually benefit me. And then obviously, yeah, keep my skills sharp because in my day job, I don't get the opportunity to do a lot of feature development work. I mostly just write code that tests other people's code. So this is a great opportunity for me to continue to upskill and improve and learn new things and and have a lot of fun doing it. I'll probably still be writing code in 20 or 30 years. I'll still be writing code. It's just an activity I enjoy. It's next to like it's the first activity that has come anywhere close to giving me the same type of like dopamine as like working out or um, playing video games, right? It's like this the first activity in a long first new activity in a long time that I tried that I was like, yeah, this is awesome. I really enjoy this. Caleb, can you give us an overbase of your like file folder structure? Oh yeah, for sure. And you guys can see this all on GitHub too. I can let me link the repo real quick, but for sure I can give you a little tour. It's very basic, nothing crazy, all stuff that's been done before. What are you building? I'm building just a personal finance app. So it's basically kind of an aggregation where I'll be able to bring all my account balances into one view. So sort of like if you remember like mint.com, basically I'm trying to recreate a very simplified experience like what mint.com used to have. I currently use a tool called YNAB. This is what I currently use to manage our finances, but it costs $15 a month and it's got way too many bells and whistles for me personally. So I'm trying to use my skills of software
Kelsey says,
engineering.
hello.
Good morning, honey. I'm trying to use my skills with software engineering to basically create exactly the thing I want. So that's what I'm building. Let's see. This is the repo on GitHub. And I tried to leave all the branches, so you can kind of see as I've done stuff, I've tried to leave all the branches open. This is the one I'm currently on. Log into front end. This is what I'm currently working on right now. Let's see, at Caleb. Oh, whoops, I'm on the wrong tab. At Caleb. There we go. That's the current branch I'm on. And then as far as like a quick overview, Kelsey, why did it work now? Earlier, honey, when you typed TTS, you missed an S. You typed exclamation point TT. So that trailing S is necessary.
I'd like to say something.
On behalf of chat, hello, Ms. Freeborn.
Sven Gadu, do you use NeoVim at work? I do for some stuff. If I'm working in TypeScript, I usually will use NeoVim, or if I'm working in JavaScript or something like that, I'll usually use NeoVim. But if I'm working in the like proper .NET solution, then I use Visual Studio. It's just yeah, it's not I think in .NET when you have a solution that's like 50, 60, 70, 80 projects, 100 projects large, NeoVim's probably not the right tool for that job. I mean, you could probably somewhat work in it, but I don't know. I probably not the best tool for the job. I use Mint. Oh yeah, I used to be a hardcore Mint user, but they shut Mint.com down, so now you can't use it, which kind of sucks. On-car Josh, like the builder mindset, Steven. I had recently built a resume uh, ATS optimizer using local LLM. That sounds like fun. Yeah, I need to build a resume site. I don't have a resume site, and I need to do that. Let's see. Going back to who was it that asked about this? Caleb. So Caleb asked about a quick layout. So this is what my structure looks like currently. This actually can be deleted. Why did it copy source to clipboard? I have no idea why that did that. Okay, so this is what my repo structure looks like currently. This is kind of how I structure most things when I'm building with .NET or a mixture of .NET and something else. So at the root of my repo, I have all kind of your dot files, right? Like this is for Git, VS Code, Aspire. People probably aren't familiar with that. I always have a top level editor config file, top level git ignore. I like to use centralized package and build property management in .NET. So I have a top level directory build props that just allows me to specify in one place a bunch of properties that I want to cascade down into all my .NET projects. Your basic license, your readme.md, a global.json that just tells .NET how it should behave when we're running .NET stuff inside this repository. And then for the most part, my solution is mostly consisting of .NET projects. So I have several .NET projects, the most important of which are the API, which is where all the backend logic right now lives. I have a small little admin CLI tool that I'm using to do some stuff that I don't want to expose through the web interface or through the API, like adding a new user. This isn't going to be a tool that somebody can like register for a free account or anything like that. So I have an admin CLI that helps like seed a user into the database. And then I kind of have like more of a clean, quote unquote, clean architecture where I've got sort of this API project, which is sort of my application level project. Then I have an infra project where a lot of the like concrete implementation for things happen. And then a core project, which just kind of is supposed to represent only things pertinent or relevant to the domain that we're talking about. And then the service defaults and the app host, those are things that are related to Aspire. Aspire is a whole thing unto itself. If you're interested, I would go to aspire.dev, and they've got all their documentation on there. It's basically like a tool chain for making your local dev orchestration with the distributed applications much easier. So even something as simple as like a front end and a back end, Aspire can be very helpful with. And then my web project, which kind of looks like it's a .NET project, but it's not. I just named the folder that way. This is where my Vue application lives. So that's the basic structure. So we have all kind of production code in the source folder. My .NET test stuff lives in the test folder. And then all my Vue application is here in the .web folder. So that's the basic layout. But the repos, that link that I put in chat is the link to the repo. So you're welcome to go climb around in it if you want. Minister of Defense, you can definitely manage 80 to 90 projects in NeoVim, but you probably want to use Telescope because you need fuzzy search. Oh wow, so you've used NeoVim on a solution that large? That's impressive. I've never tried it. That's the thing. I've never tried it, so I don't really know. I've always just figured if I have a .NET solution that's that big, maybe NeoVim isn't the right thing, but that's my feeling. On Josh, is it a monolith? No, I'll deploy it as separate things. So I'll deploy the front end in a container, and then I'll deploy the back end in a container. A dot in the cosmos. How are you linking bank accounts? We're using a service called Plaid, or I should say I'm using a service. We're using a service called Plaid. I think it's a pretty well-known, popular service. I think a lot of the big financial products out there on the market use it. But that's what we're using to do to connect bank account information. Shulker Dev. Hello, Shulker. How are you? Good morning, Cy Sheriff. Good to see you. Minister's Defense. Well, I don't work with
Kelsey
.NET.
says, look behind you.
That kind of scared me. now, I'm kind of creeped out. um, so I don't work with .NET, so maybe I'm ignorant. Well, I've never tried. I think you could definitely navigate. The thing is, I think you could definitely navigate the solution and the repository using NeoVim, but it's more of like when you have a huge project, a huge solution like that has that many dependencies, like being able to start things up, right? Navigate to definitions, all that type of thing. I don't know how NeoVim would handle it. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I'm a believer in doing in using the right tool for the right job is often the best choice. And I just feel like if you're working in a really big .NET solution, probably use something like Visual Studio or Rider, or even Visual Studio Code with the C# Dev Kit. Probably is the better option. Worth a shot. Yeah, only Kelsey. Kelsey's the only one with the text to speech command. She's the only one I trust to use it responsibly. Everyone else I'm suspicious of.
Kelsey says, I was just going to say that's a nice lamp behind you.
Oh, okay. Thanks, honey. Thank you. You kind of scared me. Now I have like this sense like that there's something behind me now. Mason, I use VS Code with DevKit. I like VS Code with the DevKit. Somebody yesterday was saying they don't like, or I think it was Justin Martinez. He was saying that he didn't like working with C# in VS Code, but I kind of disagree. I think that they've done a wonderful job
Kelsey
of
says
making
that wasn't my plan at all.
I think it was your plan. ZSH terminal. I like ZSH. That's what I have on all my that's what I have installed on all my VPSs.
I'd like to say something.
You can join the dark side, Twitch, to get TTS.
You can. So Twitch has free text to speech with channel points, but you can also do text to speech on YouTube with super chat, or you can also go to grounds for support.stephenfreeborn.com, and you can also do super chat through here if you want. It's just $1 to do text to speech on those places, or go to Twitch and earn channel points for viewership over there. I don't trust people to just have free reign of text to speech. Based on how I've seen people use it when it costs money or channel points, I don't trust people just to have free text to speech at all. Don't trust them at all. Or you can do I'm blind. Yes, you can. Only Kurt's I am blind has to be at the beginning of the message. When he says people, he means me mainly. No, I mean people. I mean, somebody the other day stuck like a whole book of Chinese characters into text-to-speech. Let's see, are you planning on making this app a PWA? I don't honestly know. We've talked about this a couple times, the Dot and the Cosmos. We've talked about either making a separate mobile. That's actually the reason why it's not a monolith, is because I basically decided, well, I want to have all the logic in a backend that I can expose through an API, because the idea is that we might at some point try to figure out how to build a mobile app, which I don't know how to do mobile development, but I think for my wife, she would much prefer to have like an app on her phone to look at this information than have to use like a website on her phone or a PWA. So I think I would like to try to build a mobile app before I go the PWA route, but that's my current thinking. I don't know how difficult it is to build a mobile app. I figure I could use something like .NET MAUI or some sort of there's got to be some tool chain out there that I can use my existing like skill set to produce produce a mobile app. So we'll see. For large .NET projects, it depends on the LSP used in NeoVim.
I'd like to say something.
Tangent time. Chat took a vote, trust me, and we would like little avatars crawling around the bottom of the screen. Lazy cats would be my choice.
Okay, I can look into that. Let's see. What does a mobile app offer that a PWA doesn't? I guess just a mobile app to me always feels like a better user experience than a PWA. Maybe that's because I've only ever used like crappy PWAs before, but that's the main reason. Just the user experience. For large .NET project, it depends on the LSP used for NeoVim. I just use C# LS instead of OmniSharp because it's much more reliable from my experience. So I'm using OmniSharp myself. So maybe I need to try something different. Again, I haven't tried.
Kelsey says Karma just got me back. I got scared because of a sound, but it was OP.
The universe works in mysterious ways. Where's Uncle Pee-wee? Uncle Pee-wee's over on Twitch. He's on the Twitch channel. Clean architecture versus vertical slice. I like both, honestly, Code Ingenuity, and I actually kind of have a mix of it going on. So I have a clean architecture, but then within each of the projects, I sort of still have things organized by slice. And I know that sounds dumb, but the thing I like about that is it sort of helps me remember where things should live, like what should depend on what. I like the physical separation that separate projects gives me from the clean architecture approach. So I sort of have a mixed bag right now going on, which I know is probably blasphemy, but it's kind of a mixed bag at the moment. But I like both approaches. I think if you had to make me pick, if I could only use one, I'd probably stick with the vertical slice. I think that makes a lot of sense from just being able to make sense of a code base. But that's my own personal preference, not necessarily right or wrong. Let's see, not hard to use Maui. It's nice, uses XML basically. Okay, cool. So maybe I'll check that out. Like I said, I haven't done any native development really. I lurk in the YouTube chat just with a different name. Oh, nice. So you're in both places. Okay. Well, cool. Thanks for doing that. Appreciate the additional viewership. All right, we need to figure out the next step here. So we have the login. And I think what I'd like to do is I'd like to pretty everything up. I'd like to spend a little bit of time on the style, because this right here, this is not it. So let's add a little log out button right here. Let's see, type equals button. And let's just do log out. Is log out one word or is it two words? I can never make up my mind about this. Log out one or two words. It is one word when describing the action or button, but two words when describing the act of signing out. Okay, so one word. Uncle Pee-wee, it's one. I guess it seems like according to the internet, it depends. Let's see, handle log out. If you're taking a poop, it's two words. First off, TMI. Second off, good point. Let's see, use const log user.
I like to I'd like to say something.
Oh, I would hate to log in.
That gives a whole nother meaning. Oh my goodness. Let's see. Let's put a little to do here. To do. We should also, in this case, log user out. Whoops. Also need to log user out on the server, which is basically just clearing refresh token cookie and revoking it in the database, which we haven't implemented yet, but we will. Oh, we need to redirect too. Let's see, const router equals use router. And then router push back to public login. Yeah, that looks good. So do Steven password log in, log out. All right, so let's pretty up this view. So this is the let's make the front door look a little better. I'm also thinking maybe we should have separate layouts too for authenticated versus unauthenticated components. Let's see. Let's do public layout .tsx and or whoops, not TSX. What am I thinking? Not TSX. We're writing view here, Steven. .view. And then protected layout.view. I need like a single file component snippet, like a single. I need some sort of custom snippet for view. That way I don't have to type this every time. You should embed the login form onto an animated Nyan cat. Hold on, what is that? I don't know what that is. Nyan? I'm not sure what that is. Is that a cat with a Pop-Tart and a rainbow coming out of its butt? What? Is this what this is? Is what we're talking about?
Kelsey says, what are these words you speak?
I know. I don't know. I don't know, honey. This is. We learn about all kinds of things during stream. Is this what we're talking about here? It's a meme from 2011.
I'd like to say something.
Is a ravioli just a Pop-Tart? Is cereal just soup? Since tomatoes are technically fruits, does that make ketchup jam? Does toilet paper go over or under the toilet paper holder? Is a hot dog a sandwich? How do you pronounce GIF?
I guess you pronounce it GIF. Right, no, I just realized I'm behind on the live. Oh, that's funny. Log in, log out to get to a separate page. Log in, log out to perform the action. Yeah, that's exactly what the internet said was log in is separate, log out is separate for page definition, but log in and log out are one word when you were talking about the action. Ryan is a smart guy. He always has the right answer. Good morning, Azure. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. See ya, Dot in the Cosmos. Have a good day, man. Thanks for hanging out. Is Kelsey still here? Yes, she's still here. She is still here indeed. All right, I don't know what a good login form looks like, so let's see what we should do with this. Let's see, login form ideas. Kind of like that. Oh, that's too complicated. That's too complicated. I guess let's just do something simple. Yeah, just a box, like a card, basically a card. Input, output, or input, label, input, login button. Yeah, just something like this even. Where is it? Yeah, just something like this. Oops. I think that looks good.
I'd like to say something.
Wish I could stay, but I must away. So goodbye to the Freeborn clan and chat.
See you, Voltaire. Have a good day, man. You flatter me too much. I'm rarely right. I'm just good at passing it off as if I was. I don't think that's the truth, man. I think you're a very intelligent human being. What are you making? We are currently in the process of building the login screen for this application that I'm making. The application is a personal finance app, but the part that we're implementing right now is the basic login view, which this is what the login looks like right now, and we're going to try to make it look a little better. See, first and foremost, let's do protected or public layout. And so it's just going to have a router view. Let's see, router view. Why didn't that router view? Nope, that's not what I want. Did I name these properly? I want that. Maybe I have to do it like this. There we go. There we go. And we'll make this main. And let's wrap this around views, router, where's router? So instead of this going straight to the this will be component. Public layout. Hold on, do I want it like that? I honestly don't know if that is what I want. Let's see, inspect. There's our app, there's our main tag, and there's our form inside it. Yep, this is what I want. Okay. And so then let's go ahead and so where's the base? Is there any base styles applied to this? No, there's not. Okay, so we need to add some sort of global CSS. Yeah, these are all just basic default styles. Caleb, Vue looks confusing. No, it's not. It's not bad at all. If you've worked with React or really any front end framework, it's all very similar. Obviously, like the single file components are a little strange, right? Because you're kind of mixing like 3 different languages all together. But I like it. After a time, you kind of get used to it. It's kind of nice to have everything kind of co-located in a component, and then it makes it a little bit more natural when you're when you're writing a template, you're actually just writing HTML, and when you're writing styles, you're writing just plain old CSS. Or actually, you can use different languages actually in the style tag. I think Vue supports using less Sass. I think you can use a few different languages there, but you get used to it. But if you've worked in any other front end framework, you pick it up pretty easy. I need to figure out, where do I need to put the styles that I want to apply everywhere. Do I put those in my public folder? Yeah, I want like a let's see, base CSS. Then where does that get imported from? Let's see, index dot. There we go. Okay, so that's what we'll do. So let's do assets, and then let's do main.css. Put that there. Always import them into the parent component that everything else originates from. Yes, that makes 100% sense. So we're going to come back into our app.view, or not app.view, our main.tss, main.ts, and we're going to do import assets, and we'll just import it here. Like that. And I'm actually going to do reset CSS. And I'm going to go grab my on GitHub. Just see you later. See you later, Walsey. Have a good day, man. Oh no, I've got some vulnerabilities I need to patch. There we go. Let's see, and then we're also going to say font, family, inherit, font size, inherit. That looks good. Then we'll import that into the main. We'll say, how do you do that in CSS? You say main, say at import dot reset dot CSS, like that. Cool. And then we need HTML, and body should have a height of 100%. That looks good. Let's see, if you can't do view, you can't view straight. What? What was that supposed to be a joke, Uncle Pee-wee? That didn't land for me. Just use Tailwind. Bulba's another great option. I like Tailwind. I've never used Bulba before. Tailwind's good, but I honestly, when it's just me working on the project, I just don't see the need to bring in the complexity of the Tailwind process, the build process. I'll just author vanilla CSS. Plus, it gives me practice to actually write CSS. Zalmez, hello, good to see you. I think you're a first-time chatter here. I don't think I've seen you before. Hope you're doing well. Caleb, I wish you were using React. Yeah, I mean, I guess everybody has their preference, right? But React's good too. Just because I use one thing doesn't mean I don't like something else, you know. It's just preferences. All right, and then we also need the app to be 100%. So do. Whoops. Perfect. Okay, so now let's go back to our layout. Oh, you know what? We should bring in our favorite fonts too, shouldn't we? Let's bring in our favorite fonts. See, I do not need all those. Cosmic Sands? No, we like Cascadia Cove, man. Cascadia Cove. That's where it's at. We're going to use them nerd fonts. The nerdy fonts. I need to keep these things in a place where they're easier to reach. Okay. So let's do a little bit of file moving. Let's see, desktop, repository, physical OS, source, web, assets. You know, I wonder if these should be... I honestly wonder if these shouldn't be public. Not really need to be part of the build process. Let's see. And then let's do fonts like that. Okay. So now what we need to do is we go back in here to main and we say assets CSS. And then in the main file, come in here. And we're going to create typeface. Now you are, let's see, you're actually up. Yep. All right, and then let's do the root element. Let's see, root font family is going to be Cascadia Cove Nerd Fonts with a fallback to what? With a fallback to mono? Yeah, let's do that. Fallback to mono. And then font size, we'll just set explicitly to 16 pixels. There we go. I've kind of adopted that font as like my personal brand font. I use it on everything now. It probably doesn't make sense for a finance app, but I don't care. I like it. I like the way it looks. All right, so now we need to say, go back to our layout. And we're on our public layout, and we're gonna target main. And we're gonna say, okay, you've got a height of 100%. Your display flex. You are going to align everything to the center. Like that. Okay. And then we need to probably wrap the probably need to wrap the view. Login view. Put this in a div probably. Actually, we don't need the header. That's kind of dumb to have. We can probably just use the form as our card. Yeah. I hear something like almost like a buzzing over my head. It's weird. Size Sheriff, hell yeah, dude! Cascadia Cove is so clean. It is. I'm kind of ate up with it. I use it everywhere. I forgot how much I hate property hoisting in React, and managing dependencies and subfunctions in Lisp is 10 times worse than that. Property hoisting in React. Does that mean like is property hoisting the same thing as prop drilling? Just you're talking about it from the other perspective? Is that what you're talking about? Like we're basically what you're saying is like you have to lift state up. I think React has an API to help with that. In some instances, you can use the context API, or you can use some third-party state management tools that allow you to just have kind of almost like a global state that you can access from anywhere in the tree. But yeah, I will agree. Having to lift state up and drill props throughout your application gets complicated. On car Josh, who's behind you? Wait, what? All these people are trying to make me paranoid.
I like to say something.
Sorry, Steven, that's my Rolf chopper you're hearing. My ROFL copter goes swize, 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 swize.
Let's see. Yeah, exactly. Every function that depends on another function should pass that function to the parent context to prevent overloading the system. With load calls from the functions are localized. Yeah, it's painful. Yeah, I totally understand it, which is why there's the context API, right? And that's why, because imagine if you had to prop like in a user application, right? Like where there's identity involved. Imagine if you had to prop drill your user identity all the places where you need it. That would just be no fun at all, which is why they introduced the context API. And there's other third-party state management tools I know in the React that people like to use, like Atom I think is one, Jotai I think is another. There's like 3 or 4 different ones that are pretty popular. All right, let's clean this up. So let's just add a class here. This is a form group. This can also be, I guess, a form group. Don't know if I actually need that. Actually, I don't even think we need the classes. With as simple as this is, we probably can get away with just using selectors. So let's do, dot form. Whoops, nope, form. My watch is telling me it's time to stand up. So this is going to be display flex. Flex direction is column. Let's do a gap of 1. Why aren't you working? Oh, you are working. Whoopsies. You are working. And then we also need the same thing here for form div. But the form is going to have a gap of 1. And we're going to say form div has a gap of like 0.5 rem, maybe? Yeah, that looks pretty good. Maybe a little smaller gap between the 5. Yeah, that looks decent. And then let's style our button to form div button. And then let's say you have a let's look at our palette, our color palette. We should probably add that to our top level CSS. Explorer, OneDrive, desktop, physical OS. What did we call that? I know I put it in there. Oh, initial color palette is what I called it. Initial color palette. Oops. Yeah, we can use that. Just open the PDF. Let's see. What do we want our button to be? I guess we could be, I don't know, green maybe. Green's probably good for a login. I don't know what would be. Let's get Gemini involved here right now. Let's get good old Gemini involved here. I think it's a new one made for UI design. Have you heard of Stitch by Google? I have not heard of Stitch. Stitch Google. Stitch design with AI. Interesting. I have not heard of this. Let's see. Create me a minimal login form. Use pleasing pastel colors for
Did we
any
just become best
accent.
friends?
Who followed?
Did we just become best friends?
Oh, multiple people just subbed. I can't. MG22 Shepherd, thanks for the sub on YouTube. Who else? Sorry, I can't see the names. I had it behind a window. Eventually, I'm going to figure out how to be a streamer. Ponwand, thanks for the sub. MG22 Shepherd, thanks for the sub. Caleb, thanks for the sub. I think everybody else I already said thank you to. Appreciate you guys. Very kind of you. Okay, create me a minimal login for any accent colors you need. Also, what is this? App, desktop? We'll see. How do I run this? There we go. See what happens. Saw it today, it's okay-ish. Well, let's see what happens. I've never used it before. Right now it says it's starting its engine. All right, while it's doing that, let me ask Gemini real quick what I was originally going to ask. How would you organize these colors into reusable CSS variables or CSS custom properties to reference throughout my app? I always struggle with proper naming convention for this stuff. The promise of AI, like AI was supposed to help us cure diseases and do all kinds of great things for humanity, and instead here I am using it to figure out what to call my CSS custom variables and properties. Something unexpected happened and Stitch couldn't complete your generation. Please try again in a moment. Please, man, I need this. I guess I probably also shouldn't misgender the AI, should I? Anars Dev, good to see you, Anars. What are you talking about? No, I want this. I already told you what to do. Rose, Sage, and Mint. Semantic aliases, okay. Yeah, this is the part I always struggle with. Color accent, color positive, color negative, color primary. Okay, I like this. I like this. Okay. Put all the custom CSS props in a copyable markdown, copyable code block. Don't include any of the dumbass comments you put in the original example. So, it's a it? Yeah, it should be an it, huh? AI will remember that. When I stand before the AI gods. Okay, cool. Thank you very much, Gemini. That was so helpful. What would I do without you? let's go to main. We'll go to our root here. Let's put those up here. And then we can do color primary, I guess, on the button now. So let's go down here to our login view. We'll jump down to the button and we'll say background color equals var. How did we name it? Did we name it primary color or color primary? I don't remember. This is what happens when you copy and paste stuff. Must be primary color or color primary. Cool. Let's do padding. Let's do 0.25 rem. Let's do border radius 0.25 rem. Okay, we need to fix these inputs. But the button looks fine. Let's see, form div inputs. Let's do same thing, I guess. See what that looks like. Okay. I don't like whatever that outline. There's like an outline or something. Also, the focus is removed off my button. That's a no-no. I bet that's happened in my CSS. Let's see. Border none. Cursor pointer. Which one is it that's the controls the focus? I think it's the outline, right? That controls the focus. Yeah, there we go. Okay, that looks good. And then the inputs, let's remove the default outline. Default outline is none. Where's that border? None. There we go. Okay, border, there should be a border, but it should be something different than that. Let's do 1 pixel solid black. What's that look like? Looks fine. Oh, the inputs need to inherit from their family too. Let's see. Inputs, reset. I think there needs to be a little bit more padding there. Maybe the padding top is okay, but we need more padding on the left and right, I think. Yeah, I think that feels a little better to me. What does it look like if it... I could sit here and fiddle with styling all day. This is the problem. I really need to get in the habit of having somebody do the design for me. Yeah, and those just look too big now. Oh no, that was at 125% zoom. So maybe they look fine at normal zoom. Okay, and then let's make the labels form div label. Let's do font weight, make them bold. that not a thing? 700? Oh, whoops. It would help if I could spell form. There we go. Okay, I like that. You know, you can find a picture of a form template from Pinterest, then paste it on ChatGPT to get HTML and CSS design. That's not a bad idea. What are you using for the backend? I'm using C# and .NET. So I just have right now. I just have a minimal API. Is what I'm using on the backend. And this is I'll probably stick with a single API for now. I don't really have a need for for separate services per resource or endpoint or anything like that right now. So everything just lives in this one API. And then I just have a single front end right now. The reason why I didn't make it a monolith, I would have made it a monolith, but I kind of have a little bit of appetite to build a mobile app for this thing. So I wanted to start with kind of an architecture that would support multiple clients at some point. Otherwise, I would have probably just done like a Blazor server app and just gone straight up, monolithic for something like this. You do that a lot. Yeah, I think that's a great idea, but I kind of want the fun of doing the design. But yeah, I probably spend way too much time on it. I probably need to find somebody, like a friend who's a designer, and have them like, hey, will you design me these pages and I'll just go and implement them, because that would probably save me a lot of time. Maybe Chat GPT is that friend. or Gemini is that friend. Oh, let's see what that Stitch AI ended up coming up with. I forgot we did that. Oh no. Something unexpected happened and Stitch couldn't complete your generation. Please try again in a moment. I wonder if it's because I'm moving focus away from this tab. I'm wondering if this application doesn't deal well, if the browser sleeps, snoozes this tab. It's kind of interesting. Well, I guess we'll just have to rely on the good old noggin. All right, let's make a little card. So login view. Let's see. So we'll do form. Let's come back up to the form. And let's say you have a gap of 1. You have a border radius of, I guess we'll just stick with the 0.25. We need a box shadow. That's what we need now. Box shadow. Let's actually do this. I'm just going to use the browser dev tools to make the box shadow. Let's see. Form. Box shadow. That's uglier than sin, isn't it? Let's see. I want it centered, I think. But we don't want it to be... Let's see. Let's make it like that, maybe? Yeah, I think I want it centered. Um, but I think I need to change the color. I mean, I obviously need to add some padding too. See, this is what I'm talking about. Like, I'll just sit here and fiddle with this for way too long. Okay, so let's add some padding around the form now. So let's do padding 0.5 rim. Probably needs more than that. Let's do 1 rim. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So obviously I don't want light mode though, right? Like, who wants a website that does light mode now? The login button also looks like it could probably stand to have additional padding in the height. So let's do 0.5 rim, top and bottom. Yeah, I like that. That looks a little better. And then let's try to add a dark mode to this thing. So we need, on our main, we're going to define probably, here actually I'm just going to have Gemini do this part for me. Gemini, let's see. Okay, now extend that palette. Sorry, I know I hit chat too. My bad. Hello, Mark. Good to see you. You still get to do the design, but not spin this. That's a good point. That's a very valid point. Okay, now extend that palette to have a basic light and dark mode. Use the prefer, what is it? Prefer media or something like that. Prefer media scheme to determine what is applied when. I need more coffee. Unfortunately, it's too late in the stream to go and get more coffee. It's already 7:11. I caught the flu today, so I didn't go to work. Man, I wasn't great. Dude, that sucks, dude. Getting sick is the worst. It's the worst. Okay, why did it just completely... Remapping specific colors if needed for contrast on dark BG. Oh, that's probably a good idea. What colors did it come up with for dark mode? Palette mint. Let's see. What is this? Palette Slate 900. What is color is this? Where are you? I've lost my windows. Oh, I hate that. I hate that. I don't want a slatey blue. I don't like that. I hate your I hate your choice of slate for the dark I hate your choice of slate. I'd like to stick with a white or light and dark mode that is centered around just shades of white and black. Please don't fuck this up. I beg of you. Good morning, Rockin' Brain. How are you doing? I'm doing good. Yeah, I'm doing well. Life's good, man. Life's good. I'm here in my house. I have electricity. I've got internet. I've got coffee. My family's healthy. Life is good, man. Life is good. And I hope life is equally good for you in all the ways you'd like it to be. Neutral black. What did it call neutral black here? Well, that's just straight up black. All right, let's just, okay, I'm going to stop shitting on Gemini's preferences because they're probably better than mine. So let's just take them and use them. Let's see. Let's go here. And let's paste that in. This needs to actually get moved out to here. And then we actually need to hold on. Delete that. Put that down here. Do that. Remove that comment. Take this out. Remove these comments. Remove these comments. Remove the primitives. Okay, so then brand primary is what I have to update my. Hold on. Who doesn't? Oh, whoops. Okay, brand. What was it? Brand primary. So let's go down here and say brand primary. That. Bro, I hate that. Oh no, never mind. That was the old style. That's just not working for whatever. I hate the slate color. I have strong feelings about the slate color. Okay, why isn't this working? What did I do wrong? There's got to be something. Let's see. I must not have the. Did I write this out? I think I wrote them all out, didn't I? Oh no, I didn't. Oh, I have to apply them. I'm such an idiot. I have to apply them. Let's see. I'm such an idiot. I haven't used them anywhere. Maybe the copy the palette you want. Try again with Stitch. Yeah, we could try. We could do that for sure. Have you tried SvelteKit, Steven? I have not. Zhang, good morning. I have not tried SvelteKit. I did like a very small part of the tutorial on the Svelte website. I didn't make it all the way through, but I've heard really good things about Svelte. I just haven't used it to build like a substantial project. Okay, now I need to apply these things that you've come up with. Where's the best place to apply them in my global CSS styles so that shit just kind of works? Max G, thanks for the sub, man. I appreciate that. That's very kind of you. Yeah, but I want to see what colors. So text primary and BG app. Okay. So we will do body color var text primary, and then background is going to be BG app. See what that looks like. Ooh, looky there. Okay, and then let's see what it looks like if we switch to theme. Dark. Here we go. Let's do light. Easy peasy. Okay, so we need to go and apply some stuff to those inputs so that they flip over. I don't know why anyone would ever use a light mode, but like, so be it. Okay, so where, I'm not sure where Gemini, okay, so can you explain can you explain where you envision each of the colors you define being used in my app? For example, what would be the correct color variable to use for input backgrounds? Button, input backgrounds. Things like this, so that when toggling between light and dark, you get the effect we want. Kurt, you're not going to work today? I am going to work today. I was just trying to get this to a final place, but I do need to stop. I do need to stop and wrap up. I do have work today, though. You are 100% right. And I appreciate you for pointing out the fact that I need to go get ready for work. The nice thing is I do work from home, and so even if I run the stream a little longer, I still will be able to get to work on time. Let's see, BG surface, the plates, cards, sidebars, text primary, text secondary, BG element, input fields. Okay, so you envision BG element for the inputs. I'm gonna have to, let's see, can you, okay, great. Can you summarize this into a nice, easy to reference markdown document please place into a copyable code block. So it wants us to say input background color becomes var BG element. I'm taking design advice right now from an AI. I love it. I think that looks good. I do think the card needs a differential color, right? Because I can't tell that it's a card. So let's do background color var BG surface, I think is what it said to use. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. I might just see how that feels after a while. I don't know. I don't care. It kind of looks like we're staring at a. I don't know. It doesn't look. There's no depth. I'd like there to be some sort of like depth between the form and the background, but for the most part, I think it looks okay. All right. So let's do. Style. Add fonts. I'm just gonna do feature web working on.
Did we just become best friends?
Door. Baseline Saint or Bassline Saint. Thank you very much for the follow, the sub, I guess, on YouTube. I always mix up the terminology. It's a follow on Twitch and it's a sub on YouTube. So thank you for the sub. Working on login style. Is it vibe coded? No, boring guy. We are not vibe coding. We're trad coding. We're trad coding. Don't you think that background's too dark? I agree with you, Kurt. It's something about those colors don't look good laid on top of each other. So we need to revisit that at some point. I will agree with you. Can you hire me as an internee engineer? I don't have any jobs, man. I'm just out here trying to earn enough money so I can retire sooner rather than later. I reinstalled Windows 11 on one of my old laptops last night, but with all the hoops I had to jump through for a fucking local account, I'm installing Manjaro on it in a bit. Yeah, you can't. Windows 11 really wants you to not use local accounts. They really do not want you to have a local account. Look into some gradient background. Yeah, I think that's what's missing is like there's no depth. It's all very flat. Like I think it needs to appear like more that this is set into the background, right? So we'll come back and work on this some more tomorrow. We'll keep working on login form, and then initially once we get the login form the way we want it, then we need to. Whoops, we know that's the wrong color. We need to work on adding an account from the front end. So we'll probably, I guess, have a sidebar here maybe. Put a sidebar here. Put like an institutions or like an accounts tab here. And then that can have a listing of our accounts. And maybe we'll put like a button on the top left that's like add, do something like that. You could use box shadow. Yeah, there is a box shadow around it right now, but it doesn't look like it because the colors don't line up well. Also, I think everything just disconnected and reconnected. So apologies if the stream died. Did the stream die? No, the stream's still there. What about on YouTube? I think the stream is still up on YouTube. Sidebar is the hardest design part for you. Yeah, I'm terrible at all the design stuff. I'm really good at looking at other people's designs and being able to implement it, but just like coming up with it on the fly of like what looks good with what, that to me takes forever. Which is why I think, who was it? Somebody had a great idea of like, hey, use ChatGPT to be your designer, or use an AI to be your designer. It's a great idea. Maybe if you make the background lighter, have a slightly darker border around the actual box, so it's like, I don't know how to. Yeah, no, that's a great description, Max. I think that's a great idea. I will never judge your design ideas, man. My designs are not good, so I'm never gonna judge yours. Kurt's turn to vibe coding side and let Lovable make the design. Yeah, I need to do something like that. Don't I? Cyberlanka, what's up, Steven? You look a bit tired today? No, I feel good. If I look tired, maybe I just haven't drank enough water. Got some bags under my eyes. But no, I feel good. All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for me. I'm going to call that a morning. I think it was a productive morning. I mean, it definitely wasn't as productive as my vibe coding counterparts, but I had fun and I'm happy and I feel good and the dopamine's rocking and rolling. So that's all I care about. Good morning, Dylan. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well, man. In which language will you write the front end? We are writing the front end actually right now. That's what we were doing all morning basically, was writing front end, and we are writing the front end using the Vue framework or Vue library for taking care of all the niceties when it comes to rendering. But we're authoring it in TypeScript, so we're using TypeScript, HTML, CSS for the front end. My designs aren't usually good, but I can usually split things quite well from each other, if you get what I mean. Yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah, I'm good at looking at other designs and copying them, but coming up with them is what I struggle with. But I know that's also a skill that I just need to practice and work on. Kurt's good stream. See you. Kurt's framework. Okay, framework. We'll call it a framework. The Vue framework. See you, Kurt's. Have a good day. All right, guys. I think I'm gonna bounce. If you're new here and you enjoyed the stream, obviously this is a trad coder stream, so I get it. If you're interested in agentic development and AI and all that whiz bangy stuff that's going on right now, this probably might not be the stream for you. But if you enjoyed the vibes and you had fun, you're always welcome to come back. I'll put my schedule in the chat. I'm live most mornings from about 4:15 a.m. Central Standard Time to about 7 a.m. Central Standard Time. You're always welcome to come back and hang out. If you'd like to talk or chat outside of stream, the best place to find me is in our Discord. So I'll put that in the link in the chat as well. It's just discord.stephenfreeborn.com. Super easy to remember. But all are welcome. As long as you're kind and you're generous and you're a decent human being, you're welcome in the Discord. If you're a troll and a little bit of an asshole, I'll probably end up ejecting you. But, but I give everybody a fair shake. See you, Dylan. Have a good day, man. Bye, Lawrence. Bye, Sam D. Bye, Cyberlanka. Bye, Kurtz. See you, Abdul. Appreciate you, man. Bye, Mahi. See you, Yanlu. Sorry I missed your comment there, man. Bye, boring guy. Nice username. See you, Syed. Who else? Rockin' Brain, if you're still here. Have a good day, Rockin' Brain. I think I caught everybody who was here recently. All right. Bye, guys. Bye, chat. Bye. See you guys. Bye. Have a good day. Appreciate y'all. What is CST in relation to UTC? Like plus or minus what? I think it's plus or minus 5 max. Or I think it's, sorry, not plus or minus. I think it's plus 5. Let me see. Hold on. It's something 5. Let's see. CST to UTC. So Central Standard Time is 6 hours behind. So -6. So 6 hours behind. Hopefully that helps you. All right, now I'm really going. Bye.